to be the wildest experience for you? I mean, a whirlwind. You're it. You're what everyone's talking about right now.
It's pretty bananas. I never could have imagined that this is what would have happened. You know, and I dream pretty big, but I get recognized everywhere, and it's all love coming at me and all goodness. So
well, that's what you give, and you get what you give. You give love. You can tell that you're passionate about what you do. And so,
thank you so much.
So deserving to have the love back, for sure. Our whole culinary team, they were losing their minds when we finally were able to book you for the show.
Yeah, no, they've been awesome. Also.
So very loved here.
Oh,
and all around, very much loved. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now what I love is for people like me who love cooking but are not very good at it, as my wife told you out some. She went to GMA and she met my wife, and my wife is like, my husband's not that good of a chef. But people like me that are trying to get into it and have a passion for it, but you simplify it a little bit. You say tell me, it's salt, fat, acid, heat.
Yeah. Yes. So the idea is basically that over the last 20 years, everywhere I've gone, from fancy restaurants to just like eating in people's homes, the best food really has these 4 elements in common wherever you go. So if you can boil it down and understand these 4 things, you can make anything taste good. Yeah.
Talk about your Netflix series, which is amazing, by the way. You get to travel the world.
It was a dream.
And I mean, you went to Italy, Japan, Mexico, then back here to the States.
For me, cooking is really a way to interact with people and to have it like experiences anywhere I go. And so the show was just this, one after another. I got to go places and meet people and taste their food. Food is such an amazing entry into storytelling, and it's a way for people to share their lives and their culture and their history with you.
Absolutely.
And the origins of these foods and the real foods that you're seeing from the ground, that you're not buying in a supermarket where it could be processed or mixed around a little bit.
Totally. And so, I mean, and also, the show's called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. It's the 4 simplest elements in our cooking.
It should be if Kiss had a tour, they should call it Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat. That'd be the perfect name. All right,
Samina's going to give us a crash course on the 4 cooking elements. What's first?
So salt always comes first because
this is when you went to Japan.
Yes. And I got to learn how, salt was classically made, which is just to boil down seawater is how we got salt originally. And so when I'm cooking, especially cooking in water, you want your water to be seasoned highly. So I like to use a kind called Diamond Crystal Kosher salt because it's not too salty. And so you can use a lot of it. And so for this pot, we want this water to be really...
you're still going.
Yeah, I mean... And so you have to remember, though, that most people use Morton salt at home, and that salt is 3 times saltier than this.
Right.
Okay.
So this is a lot less salty. Yeah. Okay. So you do this, you put your green beans in, you cook them, and then I want you guys to taste. So these ones have no salt.
No salt.
And these ones are properly seasoned. So I want you to taste and tell me what the difference is.
This one has no salt?
Yeah. I mean, it's a green bean.
Tastes awful? That's awful.
Yeah.
This one's salted?
It's just sweeter.
Oh, much sweeter.
It's much more tender.
It brings out the flavor.
Sweetness.
They're also more brightly green. They stay more green. They keep more nutrients. So really, you always have to season your water.
Absolutely.
Totally. So next is fat. And whereas salt really sort of, it makes flavor much more intense, fat helps to create delicious textures. And depending on which fat you use, you kind of determine the flavor of the cuisine. So for example, in Italy, a very common fat is olive oil.
Yeah.
So if you were to take those green beans and then saute them with some garlic, if you wanted them to taste Italian, you would use an Italian fat, like olive oil.
Right.
And this is ghee, which is kind of a clarified butter from India. So if you wanted to make Indian tasting green beans, you would use ghee. If you wanted to make, I don't know, Japanese or Korean tasting green beans, we would use some toasted sesame oil. So the fat of a place really determines the flavor of its food. So we can taste these too. Let's have a little bite.
I loved watching you go to the olive tree. Where was that in Italy?
That's called
Liguria.
Liguria.
So fascinating.
Yes, it's so beautiful. It's on the northwestern coast of Italy, and it's where some of my favorite oils come from that taste very light and delicious. And so this is like ghee, which is when you take butter down and you brown it and then you clarify it, and it becomes the taste of Indian food.
Now, where were you where all the cheeses?
Oh, that was not far away. Parmesan cheese, my favorite.
Oh my
favorite.
gosh.
It's the best taste there is in the world.
And I didn't realize how long they take to age.
Yes,
'Cause
anywhere
there was
from
one
24.
for 40 years.
40 months.
Or not 40 years, 40 months, sorry.
I'm 40 years old.
No.
That would be
It's
the
some
oldest
really,
cheese.
really old cheese, y'all. No, 40 months. Sorry, I'm a dingbat.
No, you're not a dingbat. It's exciting. Parmesan makes me cry. So it's like,
I was like, that's my heaven.
yeah, it is.
If heaven exists,
It
when
was-
I die, that's where I want to be.
Parmesan.
All I ever wanted to do
Surrounded by cheese.
was go to where Parmesan was made. So that was really a big dream come true for me.
Absolutely.
It's just such a
and
special
the whole
ingredient.
process that it goes through before you get it on your plate.
Totally,
is
and the
amazing.
story,
the
and
history, the story.
yeah, for me, food is just a way to tell stories and
Right.
about the people who make it and the people who share it at the table and all of the cuisines and everything.
Absolutely.
So next comes acid, which acid is really what heightens flavor and gives us contrast and balance.
Okay.
So if you want to turn your green beans into a salad and make it bright and pop, you can dress it with a vinaigrette. So here we just have a simple red wine vinaigrette,
Wonderful.
which I'm not going to pick up because I'm worried I'll spill it everywhere. And then another way to introduce some acid, like a more unexpected way, is with some cheese. So there's a lot of hidden sources of acid in our cooking, and one of my favorites is fermented dairy. So that sounds kind of crazy, but just means yogurt, sour cream, cheeses, they all have that tang.
Right.
So acid
Right.
sounds clinical, like this clinical word, but it just means anything that's bright and tangy.
Yeah, and you
So,
were in Mexico.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, and
I'm a
Mexican.
fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta tell you, table of truth here.
Table of truth.
I ain't the best cook. But watching your show, and now I have your book, I'm like,
There you go.
maybe I can do this.
think
Like, it
you can.
inspired me.
And I
Needs
think
one
you
jump
can just,
start.
I think we're all.
It very much inspired me.
I love it.
My husband's gonna be very happy, and he's here, so
okay,
I know
good.
he's backstage going, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's the thing is like we can all just get a little bit better at stuff. So the last lesson I wanted to teach you was about heat. Now, I wanted to do a thing with the potatoes because one of my #1 pet peeves is when I go to a breakfast restaurant and I get home fries on the side of my eggs and they are crunchy inside.
Right.
Like crispy on the outside but crunchy and undercooked inside.
Right.
So usually that means that they have not either cooked long enough or they haven't been cooked in water. So what I like to do with potatoes is parboil them. So these are
Okay.
cooked until they're just barely soft, and then you can grill them. So here we just have, so these have been cooked until they're soft. We salt them, we oil them, and then we put them face down on the hot griddle. You can sort of hear the sizzle there.
Oh, yeah.
I want you guys to have one little bite of the
Yes.
creamy.
Can we do this
creamy
again with
potato.
cupcakes next time,
Yes,
maybe?
cupcakes next time. That's my next book.
A lot of green
So
beans.
that's the way you get a crispy potato is like you just have to pay attention.
good.
You just have to pay
Amazing.
attention.